Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small ones? Where is it written that all our dreams must be small ones? Where is it written that all our dreams must be small ones? Where is it written that all our dreams must be small ones?
Artlist.io Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.
In the world of champions, the journey is never easy. It's about pushing limits, overcoming obstacles, and finding strength with every heartbeat. Sometimes your goals seem impossible. But together, we shatter limits. Whatever your sport, whatever your goal, we go beyond your limits together.
Cameraman be the hero now? He'll need to be. G with the line of sight and with a glance on the board! To push them to not!
We have a dream. A dream where equality and equity in sport are possible. Where discrimination and lack of support are a past topic. Where there are no athletes asking for money on the street to be able to compete or study. And the only challenge they face is fighting for their dreams. They are not alone on this journey. This is how All Player was born in the world of sports marketing. An application converted into a community of support, a family where talent and hard work are the main value. It doesn't matter your background, race, or gender. What matters is your passion for your goals and the desire to succeed. In our world, every blow, every fall, it is an opportunity to get up stronger. Join us on this journey towards a future of sports and gaming where dreams become reality. Together we can change the game.
Welcome to our second and final game of the day, and it's going to be the very big one. It's going to be Team 86 versus Order 66. Yes, that's a lot of numbers, that's a lot of sixes. We'll probably get confused and call someone the wrong name sometime during the stream. It's going to happen, okay? But it is an extremely important game. Team 86, if they win, they'll be once again tied for first against Rux Horizon. Order 66, they're still also fighting for their spot higher up in the leaderboard, so it is a very extremely important game. Guys, what are your thoughts on this one? Who do you think is going to take the crown?
Good question. I would go in favor Team 86 since they're fighting to stay on top against Rocks Horizon. They need to play catch up, so they're continued to be tied for first. Order 66 is not a team to underestimate, though. Definitely a team that could upset here. They're currently middle of the pack. They also desperately need these points to try and push themselves further up the board. So, I mean, honestly, this game could go either way.
Yeah, definitely. Freck scares me. So that's pretty much all I have to say. On the side of Team 86, it's a pretty beast roster. Like, you got to remember, like, the entire Malta fiasco where, like, they pretty much just actually had, like, one of the greatest T2 performances we've ever seen, bar, like, Team Valor.
They knocked out Wolves.
Yeah. Like, it's actually, like, pretty phenomenal. Like, these guys are, like, skill level-wise, able to be at minimum, like, a bottom T1 team. So it's, like, one of these teams is definitely sort of outweighing the other in sorts of experience as a roster. So I think that in general we could be seeing a pretty one-sided affair, but also could be very even as well.
Now, in terms of where we'll be going for this, as we all kind of predict one-sided affair, if we can bring up the map bands, please, it is a bank. So at least it's not two clubhouses in a row. Let's rejoice. It is going to be a very interesting map pick with Order 66 starting on attack. How do you think this is going to play out for them?
Order 66 lose if they don't get a 4-2 attacking half. That's like my entire prediction.
All right, I think I'll just I'll go with that as well.
Now, the reason why is simply because, like, at the moment, generally at least, there's 3 maps in the meta that have become attacker-sided. One of them's Bank, and the other 2 are Cafe and Chalet, but neither of them are important right now. Bank, realistically, it's become attacker-sided. It's the most attacker-sided of the 3. So realistically, like, when it comes down to how we look at the sort of scope of the way the map should be played, we should really be seeing the attack come out with sort of at least 2 of the 3 defensive sites, because the mid-floor generally pretty 50-50. If played well as an attacker, it should go your way. And then the top floor is also kind of bad for the defenders at the moment. But yeah, it's the bottom floor that's a real, like, fear factor for the attack. It's one that generally you expect to lose, especially against, like, T1 teams from what I've seen. And I think it could be a pretty fair showing for both sides, but it's a matter of how they actually decide to play it. I think a big operator in this format is going to be like the Dekebi, the Zero, like the big informational operators on the attacking side.
Now, we talked a bit about our predictions, but let's bring them up on screen. Even though we kind of already discussed it, it is a clean sweep for Team 86 across the board, like we said. I mean, like, I really can't see it going any other way. Don't get me wrong, Order 66, they're pretty good, right? Like I said, they're right now in the middle of the standings. They're currently in 5th place. If they win this, which again we kind of doubt, they would actually get ahead of ITBA. That would be huge for them. that would be an absolutely huge win for their positioning in the standings if they manage to get ahead of Into the Breach's second team. Though, if that's going to happen, is very, very difficult to tell right now because I mean, Team 86 on a roll. What would Order 66 need to do on Bank to stop him?
Um, I mean, it really depends on how you want to suit it. It's like you there's a couple of things that could really like throw things out of the water. I know that especially players like Freck on the side of Team 86 are very gun heavy. So it's a matter of whether you want to go the old like sort of 2019 Shiko route of just like target banning his main operators, especially on the attack. Like the attack is going to be the big difference maker. I feel. Um, so I think that could be a factor. But also just generally like informational game on the attack, and then also like Monty. Monty's a great informational operator on the attack. He's just a walking wall that's able to just have a look around, see what he wants to do, and give callouts to his team without really being too punished. And then on the opposite side for the defense, it's well from the bank games that I've seen recently. There's a lot of Valk play. There's a lot of Echo play. There is good Maestro play by default in especially some of the lower tiers. So I think that in general, information is going to be a huge factor considering it is just a huge map.
Okay, let's see exactly who will be in the lobby with our player lineups here. These are faces you probably all recognize at this point from the Voltage League. All absolutely amazing players, especially on the side of Team 86, but it's also some standout names that have done a fantastic job for Order 66 where it mattered. Names like JJF5 definitely stand out with some of his recent showings, saving his teammates so many times. Clearly, there's still that kind of talent and a potential on the side of Order 66. And I mean, just looking at some of the recent victories, they've been on a pretty good roll. The only two recent losses that we kind of are concerned about here is against ITBA and Rux Horizon, the two teams near the top of the whole leaderboard. So we can kind of excuse those losses. Apart from that, they've been kind of on a winning streak. So it is, as much as we like to say it is a Team 86 dominated game and a Team 86 dominated world we live in right here in T4, I mean, there is still a chance. If you were to predict what kind of score it would be, what would you say?
Ooh, I mean, I'm still going with 86. I do think that Order 66 has upset potential, but for T86, I think I'll go. I don't know. We could see an overtime if the attacks are good, but you know what? No, I'll say 7-5.
I believe in Reaxes here. Reaxes is a big name. Sissy State Punks. I remember watching a few of their games and seeing sort of how well they were doing, especially in the Finnish League. Finnish League was a big one for them. So realistically, I think I'm going to go on the side of Order 66. Team 86 generally are a phenomenal lineup. And I feel like Order 66 do definitely have something to prove in this game. It's always going to be, with these two names in this server, it's always going to be Team 86's game to lose. So, pretty much no matter what, as long as there's a good mindset on the side of Order 66, I can see a very, very close match, and I can see Order 66 taking it and coming out 8-7 in overtime.
I just hope we finally see a game of Team 86 where the scoreline is actually 8-6, because at that point the jokes for us talent kind of write themselves. Maybe it will be this one, who knows? Again, we think there is definitely some round that Order 66 will pick up. Is it going to be enough to take us to overtime? It's very, at least I'm kind of doubtful, but anyway, as the lobby is being set up, any kind of final thoughts before we go into bank and see how these two teams, because we can sit here theorize all day, but it's what happens in the lobby that matters. So any final thoughts, any final predictions before we have to just see what happens?
Interesting game. Looking forward to seeing how Bank is going to play out between the two. I'm just curious about how the map is going to play out, what playstyle they choose, if they want to go for heavy roams, if we're going to see a lot of aggression, or if both these teams are going to just maybe play more passive and try and figure each other out. I'm kind of hoping for a very aggressive game. That would be nice.
Yeah, generally, I think it's going to be a pretty I imagine like a lot of Bliss style play, where you see just generally a lot of swinging, a lot of trying to take engagements. Maybe even like I know M80 favored this map for a little while. We could even see some adapted playstyle or adapted strategies from them in this match. So generally, I just think that it all comes down to whether Reaxes and the rest of the Order 66 lineup are able to really adapt to a lot of these situations, because there's a likelihood that we don't see operators like Fenrir banned, operators like Azami banned, operators like Mirror that could still be on the table, especially if they go for that sort of informational route, which we've seen a lot of T1 teams sort of focus in recent years. So I think generally it comes down to whether Order 66 are able to fully utilize the information if it's left available, and if they're fully able to utilize the actual utility of the operators if left available.
Now, we should probably point out that this is the final play day before the Manchester finals, but when we come back, it is going to be the 8th play day on the 29th, and there, Team 86 are going to actually face off against ITBA, the two titans of this league, and Rocks Horizon's kind of the third titan, but still you get what I mean. Either way, if for some reason Team 86 don't get those points here to stay even with Rocks Horizon, then the next play day is going to be even more difficult for them. Granted, in the very first play day of this whole season, Team 86 did manage to win against ITB Academy, but that was 8-7. It came down to the wire in an amazing match, which, if the VOD is still up, I highly recommend you guys check out. So that there's also added pressure if they want to stay in line with their bitter rival right now, Rocks Horizon, who's currently in first with 19 points because their opponent forfeited the game today. They need to win the game today. Otherwise, it's going to be an uphill battle to stay ahead, not just even, but potentially get ahead of them as well later down in the group stage. But anyway, the lobby is almost ready. Let's just get that beautiful bank cinematic rolling. And guys, just take it away and give us a fantastic bank.
All right, looking forward to it. Can't wait to get into this match, and can't wait to see the bans. I'm curious what we're going to see in terms of bans, if there's going to be a Monty band out. I don't know if these teams are going to play around it. The other interesting ban, probably a Habana. On defense, I'm expecting Solace Fender, probably solid things to take out. Maybe Castle or Azami for top floor. But let me know what you think.
Generally, I think Monty Ying is the attacker lineup that we're going to see. We could see something a little more funny that also denies the rush but allows them to utilize the Ying on the attacking side, which would be like a Monty Amaru, sorry. But then on the defensive side, I genuinely think we're going to see Valk and Fenrir. Like, Valk is stupidly good on this map. The only way I really see anybody sort of allowing the Valk slip through is if we see a different style of informational ban that's more suited to the way that the defensive side do decide to play the map. So in general, like, I think we're gonna see like very informational bans right now, because from what I've noticed over the last at least couple months of just Siege's adaptation, is we're falling back into, because obviously they're trying to make the game a little more tactical and they're changing a few of the fraggers and things like that. And with the nade changes and stuff, things are still sort of bouncing back from that. And I think that at the moment, with the way things are shaping up, we are going to see a very informational meta coming back. Especially with the Dekebi changes that are coming, or not Dekebi changes, but the Dekebi changes that are rumored to be happening sometime soon. If anyone's unaware, they basically just want to make it so you don't. Well, they basically trying to make it so you're not able to push a button to perform your own play.
Me, I am anyone. I did
Yeah.
not know about that rumor.
Um,
You learn something new every day.
but they're not sure how to do it. That's the entire like
Yeah.
consensus right now. We want to try and, or they want to try and make it a little more sort of like fair to the defenders when a heavy call goes off and things like that. Because someone's nearby immediately if you hear that phone call. So it's just one of those where they're just trying to work it out. Nothing's really confirmed yet. There's just a bit of a rumor going around that they want to try and fix that. So I think that with the heavy changes that are rumored to be coming, we could definitely see a much more informational style meta, especially on the defense, which would lead to a very informational counter style meta, bringing Brava and Twitch to the forefront of the meta.
Not as if Brava and Twitch weren't already on the forefront, especially on a map like Bank. I feel like with the amount of utility you can take down on basement, getting rid of Goyo canisters, the Twitch is really important. Mirror Windows Twitch is really important if you can manage that. Although now you can use Ashe and, well, technically Kali, but mainly Ashe to try and clear mirror windows to shatter them, so that at the very least they don't give any more intel. But Brava, especially to try and counterplay against Maestro, bulletproof cams, hacking val cams, and default cams to get information, these are already prevalent operators, and on bigger maps, something like a Brava is favored, so you can see it a lot on Chalet, very high ceilings, very easy to, get cams into positions, hack defaults to get early info, and the same is true for Bank. I think Fireplace Lobby play out in very similar ways. You can see the parallel between those two maps. So I'm curious to see if there's going to be any Maestro in play. We could see a Brava to counter that, especially here on Bank.
Definitely so, but at the moment, we are just very close to getting this game started, and hopefully we will be in there soon. But something I would like to, quickly touch on once again is our predictions. We made predictions a moment ago. Yours was, if I remember correctly, 7-5. Mine was 8-7 in favor of Order 66, whereas yours was in favor of Team 86. So, coming into this match, here we go. Let's have a look at this ban phase. Let's see if we got any correct. I predicted Monty Ying to go out on the attacking side alongside Valk and Fenrir, as they are two pretty oppressive operators that are quite prevalent in this map.
Yeah, I predict that the Hibana, but I think that might be a bit of an outdated ban on Bank. I haven't seen it much recently, with the amount of things that you can do. All right, a Dokkaebi getting taken out. You hyped her up a lot in the pregame, and there she goes.
Yeah, no more button press roam clear. No more taking your finger off the F key at a right time so she doesn't do the click and delay time. But there's the Ying, a big one. Leaves Monty available. That means the dirt push is going to be a pretty, not determining factor, but a pretty expected factor coming from one of these attacking sides, especially when we go down to the basement. Or they could incorporate a bit more of a sort of Brazilian style of taking that Monty on the upstairs and trying to clear top square first. However, we do see the Fenrir banned on the defense, and that means I'm only one ban away from having 3 or 4. So hopefully we'll be able to see something of the like come through as well. Valk was my final prediction, but it could also be that Solace you were talking about earlier. Instead, it's going to be the Cade. They want to be able to
secret
keep...
third thing.
Yeah, they actually want to be able to keep the elevator hatch, maybe things like that close, like hatches that don't really have that destructible floor around them. And some people like to use it as more of a backup for the elevator hatch and the lobby hatch, whereas some people like to, most people like to use it as more of a forefrontal type of gadgetry for those hatches that are actually on the site itself. So we'll have to see how they do decide to play around
Need to locate and
the fact
defuse
that he's now banned. We do see the Twitch already in play on the attacking side. Could be switched off of, but on this defensive side, we only see one of the big 5, which is not concerning, but a little questionable, especially considering you're going down to the basement. Mirror's a huge operator that you can bring on this site in particular, but instead, you're going to be seeing the Azami, so probably a bit more of a conservative setup from this team, and it looks like... Actually, no, scrap that. It looks like they want to go for a full-on roam. They've got a Warden upstairs, they've got the Legion upstairs, they've got the Goyo. The Goyo's probably going to roam as well. Realistically, if we see the Monty that's been picked on the attacking side move through dirt, we could see a fairly aggressive and fairly,
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
well, concise dirt push come straight through.
All right, I'm not sure what that was. You saw the Warden earlier on top floor. You saw the Izami upstairs. Everyone's rotated downstairs, and they're just holding open area now. This is... I don't know if they just did this in the prep phase to try and throw Order 66 off, but I don't think there's a top floor roam at the moment.
I think it's probably a bit of an old school play where they're bringing along the Legion simply for the Monty denial, but on the opposite side, they're sending their site anchors upstairs to reinforce those walls and things like that. So if they do bring a jackal and he does try and scan those footprints that are dotted around, he's just going to be like, oh well, I just scanned someone that's on site. Great, that's brilliant. But the Osa has made her way through in towards Garage, found one kill for herself onto Takano, and now we're going to be seeing her just postured up behind the money van as well. Monty wants to try and place a smoke and see if he can get himself postured towards open area, but Skitty finds one more.
Alright, Robbie trying to go through that smoke. He does do it successfully, takes down Skitty. And so that's at least one trade back for the attackers as Curly gets one more. Reacts with a beautiful shot onto Robbie. Alright, taking him down. Man advantage back into the favor of 66. But Reacts is now very low HP. I can't believe he was even able to survive that engagement. So now, just still garage control gain for the Elsa. Yeah, I think he did. And there's a plan coming through already from Nixon. So they're going to be able to stick this. There's absolutely no denial. Oh, Phenomen actually finds him right after the plant. Oh, no, he found him before the plant. The plant didn't go down.
He found him through the hatch, so Reaxi is going to be very afraid. 1 HP on this man as he is going to be trying to move closer to the diffuser.
There goes the hand
on the wrist. And now that's a bad case of RSI for that man, as we're going to be seeing a little bit more aggression from this Osa. She makes her way through site. She's found one already, but it's going to have to be a triple kill in the round if she does want to come out for it with a win. Or she's going to have to get this plant down, which is going to be relatively impossible with these hatches being open. It's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of pushing, and the Legion is also hanging about.
Even if the diffuser can be recovered, no plant opportunity inside of this part of the site. Would have to retreat over to lockers, and that allows 86, of course, to try and rotate into better positions to try and play a crossfire. They have two players. If they play this right, they have a 100% guarantee to win this round. They should not be able to lose as long as they don't give a fight over to the last remaining attacker. But time is ticking lower and lower. Plant now being attempted by the Osa. 4 seconds, starting to get stuck, but here come the players. First engagement does some damage. Just hiding away, not trying to give that fight over too early, and there we go, Curly with the shotgun. First round for 86. Bit of a scrap back and forth. Great shots from Reaxis keep them in the game, but alright. Immediately. Just a good round coming out from 86. 66 really trying heavily, but in the numbers game, Team 86 are up by 20.
Yeah, realistically, I feel like that was pretty poorly played by the side of by the side of the attack. So Order 66 kind of struggled to maintain control that they'd already gained, especially through the drone work and things like that. Probably the drones got dealt with pretty quickly, so we saw a bit of a struggle from them to actually be able to maintain that ground. And I mean, it was pretty clear from the fact that we saw the Legion and the Smoke both rotate upstairs. So they're going to want to try and work on that if they're going to actually be able to come out of this map with a win. They're going to need to try and actually be able to control areas of the map. But for the first time in a long time, we're going to be seeing the knock brought along on the attacking side. I really hope that does stick, because that means we're going to have a pretty heavy lurk, and more than likely that's going to be in the basement around blue and main stairs.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I could see something like either garage or dirt to begin with for the net to start out. The problem is that people have been favoring, I think, proxies, and if I remember correctly, the proposed change to Nuck to ignore abilities, or gadgets rather, hasn't come through, so that proxy is still going to go off.
Indeed it is, my friend.
Yeah, so actually, not even going to start basement. It looks like, for now, the Nuck is just going to be droning in JJF5. Trying to take lobby control with that Deimos, of course, you know, newest operator. The villain of the Siege story at the moment, being brought on to the team.
Indeed, and we'll see if he's on his villain arc right now, as he is going to be seeing a man over towards Elevate and nearly hits a beautiful shot, deals some damage, but it's just going to be a tag as he's going to move back in towards that ATM's area, keep himself a little tucked and safe for the time being. Skitty going to be on the upstairs trying to drone that out, make sure that top square is clear, but there's a bit of an engagement going on between Reaxis and Rob right now. They just want to try and chill, keep themselves a little safe, but right now, not a lot really going on. A lot of stall from both sides.
Over a minute wasted, Freck's still lurking, Robbie's still trying to contest space, but Curly gets taken down in the meantime. That Nook coming into play. Robbie does know about it now, though. This is a fight waiting to happen, but there's a drone coming out. Robbie's going to try and walk past that, but he gets punished instead.
The BM
too. The Nook instead shooting the body, able to get that kill. Tucano able to find one, but the Nook on a triple. Already 3 kills in this round. Freck finally able to shut that down. Advantage still over to Order, but JJF5 with another. He extends the lead. It's only down to Finamine, and he gets taken down by Nixon as well. A beautiful headshot with that prone hatch drop. And that's a round for Order 66. We're tied up 1-1.
Yeah, pretty much exactly as I said. They just added one extra step to what I was talking about. So they gathered that control, and they also implemented a bit of isolation. They found that man on main stairs. They had Reaxi Reaxis cut him off on the upper main stairs, so he couldn't actually rotate back into sight. Instead, had to fall back down the stairs and keep himself safe that way. He was going to rotate back through and maybe try and go through blue stairs to get a bit of a lurk on his own side, but instead there was a knock waiting for him on the other end, and that is all she wrote. As we saw a few of these players get caught bit by bit, and the pinch was pretty much immaculate from the side of Order 66. Losing 2 bodies, yes, but worthwhile trade for a round win.
Very good round for Actor. Just with that triple kill, able to really open up the round wide for Order 66.
I always forget that softball exists.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. You can make a
Sorry
rotate
to interrupt you.
Yeah. No, it's fine. If you make an observation, please let me know.
I do. I
can't
just
see
always
everything.
forget that. I always forget that softball exists. Like, I always forget it's a factor. It's a bit of an unknown, because not many people really seem to utilize it at all. It doesn't get reinforced. It doesn't get blown open. It's not really an important area of contention, so we don't really see it utilized much. But there is going to be a rotate in it this time, so it's nice to see people trying to open things up a little more and, you know, try and get a bit more on the ball. But it's going to be JJF5, well, to put a bullet into Breck, and the big scary man that I was talking about before, now 1-3 in the golden goal of Bank.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I think there's something with me casting Bank that has to do with this. Every time I cast Bank, the first time I see a top floor, the Azami dies immediately to some sort of mistake of just over-peaking or just not expecting something on like a window repeller or something. It is cursed. And usually you stick, you know, somebody who's very good with the guns, like you said, you know, Freck is a player to watch out for. You stick somebody like that onto the Azami, so that being an opening pick, going untraded, is always a huge advantage for the attack. This is like, I think the 3rd time that I've seen this happen on Bank. I don't know why, these Azami players, the first time they go top floor, they just don't expect it.
Yeah, there is just so much caution from this attacking side. They've managed to get the control they need, and the moment the Echo decides to try and take a peek, Reaxi's on one side, the Monty ready with a pistol on the other, and that's going to be a kill. Benjamin manages to find one for himself on the far side. On the Bolo shield, is going to be trying to posture himself up to peek onto those far windows. Does find the kill he was looking for, but Reaxis finds another in the meantime, and now this 2 versus 4 looks even more harrowing than it did before. There is still going to be a player on the far side. Kanto wall open. Atrocity manages to find one, and Reaxis finds the other, and that's going to be the round over in favor of Order 66.
All right, you said Order 66 need a 4-2 half if they want to be able to convert this game. At the moment, you know, we're on the path there. The first quarter has ended up 2-1. Basement opens up again. 86 can obviously go back there. And even the basement was a bit shaky. 86 were able to convert that 2v1, and comfortably so. They absolutely played that correctly. But with the shots coming out of Reaxis, that looks a bit scary.
Well, if you think about word for word what I said as well, I said that
Attackers need to locate
realistically,
and
the
defuse
side
as
that
many
should
bombs
favour
as
the
they can.
defense is this basement. And
Oh, and there's the mirror.
Yeah, so we see the mirror this time. So I imagine that realistically, this is the site they should win. And as I said, this is Team 86's game to lose. If Team 86 don't come out on top, it will be a shock to some people. So we are now in this position where we look at these teams and we really have to be able to see sort of how the metas really shape these maps,
10 seconds left.
how these maps are played, and how the players and operators function just as a
5
whole
seconds remaining.
in order to be able to interpret how these games are going to go. And right now,
Attackers
well,
must locate and defuse
to put
the
it
bomb.
loosely, Order 66 are definitely functioning.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, just for context on the standings, just today, Rox got a forfeit victory, and Rox and 86 have been battling for first place this whole time. They've been tied up quite a bit. And they were tied up earlier today until the forfeit came in, so Rox currently in the lead. If 86 lose this game, and you know, it's absolutely their game to lose, if they end up losing this, if they drop the ball here, then Rox will be gifted, essentially, a free lead on the standings, and 86 would not like to see that happen. They want to get that first place for themselves.
I'd like to just point out as well, there's 4 drones gone already on the attacking side. We're like not even 45 seconds into the round, and 4 drones are gone. What happened? That's 5. You only have 5 drones for your intel game right now on this basement site, and now you've only got 4 bodies. So, what are you going to do on the side of Order 66? Well, also looks like she wants to make a move into Garage. So, looking at this side right now, I'm a little worried for the side of Order 66. They've got 3 drones, potentially 2 Twitch drones, and that realistically leaves them with, for lack of a better word, bugger all utility to be able to find anyone.
Keep it deployed.
So it's definitely going to come down to a lot of these gunfights and being able to actually take engagements. Not a lot going on, but as I say that, Atrosky manages to find one on Defenamine, more than likely inside of that garage. Actually, it was Red Corridor, as it was found through the garage headballs. Stefano finds one onto NXN and finds a double for his trouble, and it is going to be Skitty to make his way through. Almost a wonderful one tap. Does a lot of damage, but isn't able to find the kill, and instead, it's going to be Fred to find the returning kill. Curly finds the last inside of garage, and that's going to be the round over in favour of Team 86.
Revenge of the Freck striking into the heart of Order 66 at the moment, as once again, basement has been won by 86. This is currently, we're on an expected pattern at the moment. And if 86 can break that right now, if they can break this pattern and at least win one more defensive round, Order 66 is going to start ending up in hot water.
Yeah, the Windows Simulator used to be Consulate, but then Consulate got a rework and they removed 90% of the windows. I think the actual percentage is they removed like 60% of the windows, but I'm not sure. Either way, we are looking at the new Windows Simulator for the Siege meta right now. I'm pretty sure it's the map with the most impactful windows currently in the meta. So we are going to be looking at that, especially for these sort of top floor holds, but instead we're going to be looking at open area right now. They've done a little bit of adapting on the defensive side. They've brought along the Tubra, they've brought along the Solace to try and play that informational game and that sort of stall game a little better. I notice a lot of teams right now on defense are going like one of 2 ways, and that is very stall heavy or very very information heavy. And sometimes you'll see a bit of a mixture. But at the moment, we see the Mute for Intel Stall, we see the Solace for Intel Denial, we see the Tubrow for, well, Utility Stall. It's a lot of stalling right now on the defensive side. So I think well, the Wamai as well, Utility Stall. It's just a lot of stalling. So I think the entire game plan for the side of Team 86 here is to run down the clock. That's what it looks like from this operator lineup.
Yeah, so Order 66 will have to combat that, but once again, 4 drones off the board. That Solus is definitely putting in some work, and Freck at the moment, I think, just inside a basement, yet does have that ability to, spot the drones, which will allow him to sneak in down here unnoticed. And if he does get noticed, he will also know, which is sometimes very important, because if you get spotted and you don't know it, you're going to walk into the open arms of the enemy. And at the moment, Robbie, all right, going for an aggressive swing over onto Reaxis Tucano with the help there, just throwing one of those freezing charges from the Tubera. I forgot the name. Opening pick in the favor of Team 86. Good aggression coming out. Ooh, and that vert play goes against Nixon. Just that gun getting away from him a little bit as Tucano was able to connect the headshot. That's a big opening advantage for 86.
Yeah, the expectations being stripped away from the side of Order 66 as now they have to try and salvage this in the 3v5. Not impossible, but very difficult. A long angle being held by Drosky over that breach side on the lower canto wall. Is just going to go onto his drones and have a little bit of a look around as Skitty's going to be on the upstairs, ready to try and take angles on towards the verticality. But Zoto canisters go out. They're more than likely just going to be looking for those footsteps, those footprints through the floor, just to see if they can hook a C4 over on towards a player that is going to be in that area, but nobody's hovering around right now. As the man comes up blue stairs, the Solace whiffs a little bit, but so does the Ace, and now he's going to be pushing right up. He knows this Solace isn't going to be coming up from behind. She's going to be running away, but it's the Azami to find the kill. And now,
the timing there.
seconds taken away.
Robbie and JJF passed each other like two ships in the night, just going past each other, and Robbie's able to convert that actually into a pick on top floor. That was nearly a pick for JJF, but he was just a bit slow on that. Almost caught him out. Very unfortunate timing, just millimeters separating the two, and Robbie with the pistol, just with the Karados, chasing that last kill. He knows this round is over. He's just gonna hip fire the last player alive, and there we go. That's 86 breaking that pattern that you set up for Order 66. So now, gonna be difficult. They definitely need this 3-3 split if they want to have any chance of converting this match, I believe.
Indeed it is, and realistically, there's only really a couple of players in the lobby for both sides that are like really doing the work at the moment. And I think that it's more spread on the side of Team 86 in general, but on the opposite side, we're seeing NXN. Yes, he's playing a considerable amount of Monty, but still 1 and 3. We see Skitty, who's picking up that Thinker at 1 and 4. So I think that in general, you have this sort of concept of some players do just activate more on different sides, and etc, etc. Some activate less, and most commonly than not, it's the defensive side that people tend to do better on than the attacking side. That's a beautiful Cuba barricade, by the way. I'm pretty sure that's stolen from Rogue, or even maybe someone else. But I have definitely seen that before. That's one of those that's very similar to the mezzanine Kiba on the actual fireplace inside of Chalet. That was coined by, I don't even remember who at this point. But now that you can shoot these Keeper barricades, it doesn't really block enough of a line of sight, in my opinion. But now you can shoot them, it doesn't really take a lot to get rid of it.
I mean, the main thing that Asami does nowadays, I think, is it wastes a bit of ammo, and for the most part, it does force out some DMRs, because DMRs are a lot more comfortable to try and take out these Kiba bearers. It has certainly been some sort of shadow buff for DMRs, because, you know, you think twice about bringing one when you have an Azami in play, because you can clear it so incredibly quickly.
We genuinely just have a Kanto Ricchetti impersonator in Elevator right now. Curly going to be doing his best impression of that player, just hovering around on the upstairs, just you know, making sure those bandit batteries are ready to be placed on the wall and ready to be tricked. Solace at Freck is going to be making himself known as he pushes himself around downstairs, throws an impact onto the wall, but the bandit of Curly is going to be the man to watch on towards Stock, almost in an engagement. He has dealt with 2 drones so far, and that's going to leave us with 3 left remaining, potentially 2 Twitch drones, but 1 definitely in pocket right now, as now that has gone onto the floor. bit of an engagement going between Skitty and one player right now, but he's found his second for the round and his third for the match. As now, Robbie going to be the next in his sights as the engagement is almost underway. A bit of damage dealt, but not enough, and the plant going to be getting put down in the site.
Attackers are activating the diffuser.
Alright, Nixon sticks that plant in a 4v2 position that is of course difficult to retake. Robbie is able to find one or two reactors at the very least on a long angle. Freck now trying to find this engagement with Skitty, but Skitty just hiding away, able to pop right back up and get himself a triple kill in the round as Nixon finds the last on Rappel. And there we go, it's that 3-3 split. At the very least, Order 66 able to salvage this one. And so, I think with an even split, this is still anybody's game, as long as Order 66 can put up some good defenses. If they can get an early lead here, I think this round is quite pivotal. If Order can get a lead right now, I think they're still absolutely in this game. But if 86 just get the first two, I think at that point it's going to be difficult to wrangle your way back in, because 86 is not a team that's going to drop a lead easily.
Yeah, that round gave me a lot of promise. Showed a lot of promise for the side of Order 66. They were able to sort of figure out that they had that man on Kanto wall. They didn't decide to pressure it at all. So that was a complete waste of an operator that they had on the side of Team 86. So really well played and really well sort of identified by the side of Order 66. Alongside that, they noticed that the remaining three players, after dealing with the others, you had the Bandit and the Azami. Well, the Azami was on main stairs. You had the Bandit on Kanto wall coming towards Stock to try and take the engagement. Freck then started taking the engagement towards Stock. The Wamai was in Janitor, meaning nobody was on the site. Nobody was in CEO. The windows were completely clear for the people to get themselves in and actually start getting that plant down. The plant was down by the time Azami had actually made it to Trump to even try and contest against the gunfight, and even then only managed to find one through the head holes on the far side of Square. So realistically, that was really poorly played by the side of Team 86 and really well identified, really well taken advantage of by Order 66. And I want to see a bit more of that on the defense. I want to see them be able to identify these cracks, these chinks in the armor that aren't really able to be exploited nearly as easy as they were when, you know, they're playing a bit more of a static position.
Nixon trying to throw that smoke canister at the Monty, instead it bounces back, he has to pick it right back up. Once again, it just sticks on these surfaces so easily. Not a great use of that smoke canister, he probably wanted to put it a bit deeper inside of dirt, but does still contest that space. It doesn't really matter where you put it. It does force the Monty to pull back, because of course he doesn't want to take any damage. Especially this early on, you need the Monty on as much health as possible. Frag trying to sneak down blue stairs. There's no contention of blue stairs. And this flashbang is going to force the smoke back. Beautiful wallbang from Freck. My goodness, opening pick goes in the favor of 86. And another flashbang to try and pick Nixon off. He almost wallbangs him through the wall as well, but that flash forcing him out. Nixon getting away with his life, but Freck able to find Scotty in the meantime.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Nixon now onto a pick to Freck. Alright, Freck finds a double, gets shut down finally by the side of Order 66, but look at the amount of damage that these two players have taken. Actor's down to basically one. Nixon is like one or two bullets depending on what gun you're looking at. Maybe two from the Monty. Other than that, there's still a Glass in play that can absolutely demolish you, and the Monty's inside of the site. He's getting just a lot of info. Curly can just push up here and potentially even bully Nixon. He does have to be careful about Reaxis, and Reaxis will go for that trade, but Robbie's inside of the site. 86 able to convert that round. And this is where we start looking at the game getting away from Order 66.
What a kill, by the way. I think realistically the Monty gave up his life there to bait for the Glass that they knew was behind, and realistically the side of Order 66 really just didn't seem to be aware of. So I think that in general they did really well on the side of Team 86 to identify that no one was really contesting on that garage side. So he managed to get himself in, managed to find the 2 kills on the garage wall and the side connector door. And then also found the man in red corridor as well. So a quick and easy triple kill for Robbie in
Attackers have located
the
a
end
bomb.
of that round there. So very well played on the side of Team 86, and very scary for the side of Order 66 as well. That's the side you expect to win, and when you're bringing along a strategy as sort of different and
10
out of
seconds
pocket as like reinforcing these upstairs hatches
5
to stop
seconds
people
left
from being
before
able to go from the upstairs to the downstairs so quickly, and bringing along this
Attackers are
castle
moving to
to
defuse the bomb.
like have these castle barricades on the red corridor so the head holes don't affect the man in red corridor, things like that. It's almost questionable, because yes, you don't want anyone really shooting the mirror from the inside of garage, but also realistically, if you didn't want anyone shooting the mirror from inside a garage, you just reinforce the wall, and then you don't need the castle barricade. So I'm kind of questioning the thought process, but there could be something I'm missing here, and if there is, I apologize. But I see on the side of the defense, there isn't a lot of identification of these sort of cracks and problems that we were seeing beforehand.
I mean, this is a thing I can point out, this lineup and the way that they're playing the strat, especially with that top floor reinforcement. See Robbie very scared for his life, and yeah, there we go, he gets taken down by Reaxis. Tucano elsewhere, able to find Actor. That's at least the trade for the side of, you know, both teams. But Skitty is still inside of... I don't really know what the plan is for this roam. Order 66 is going on an aggressive roam, and it just gets punished. I was gonna say, the thing that I was pointing out here before we got to these gunfights was, this is a fairly old strat. This is an old strat run with new operators trying to reinterpret that using the Solace as Curly just builds the lead, taking down Nixon. And adding the Solace might work, but I just have to say, Skitty just completely overextended there. If you're playing with both hatches reinforced, you need a way back. And he boxed himself in and got himself killed on a gunfight. Reax is now falling back down the hatch, getting just controlled back to site by 86, and they're mounting the pressure here.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. As much as it might be an old strat, to me it looks like throwing. We're seeing a lot of these players sort of play around these positions where they're on a room, they're able to keep themselves in a position. It has been equalized, which is very good for the side of Order 66. But something I want to really touch on right now is like the Solace room, for example. What's the plan there? They open the window, they have a player inside of the meeting long desk, and they're not actually able to...
How's this working?
They're not actually able to isolate you. You've isolated yourself. And it's really nice that they managed to find some kills in return. It's a beautiful clutch. JJ F5 puts the team on his back in that round and manages to find pretty much every kill. I think all of them except one.
Yeah, I mean, a beautiful pick from Reaxis as well, but that was all, like, it was a 2v4. JJF5 is able to find a triple, able to convert this round into a victory. This was a terrible roam setup on an old strat from, like, previous metas, trying to adapt that with a Solace that completely overextends, and it works. It works for Order 66. They're being given gunfights, and JJF5 just...
Attackers
well,
need to locate and defuse
just
bombs.
cold hard facts, they won the round. And they did it off of JJF5, not off of whatever they were trying to do with their roam.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But the fact that it still converts into a round win is something that's questionable now for the side of 86, because I feel like they had a strong lead here, and they threw it away, giving individual gunfights over to 66 in different places.
Yeah, the reason I say the reason I spoke up there and said like I don't think you can say it works is just simply for the reason that like it did, as you said, come entirely down to gunfights. I think it was more comfortability and gunplay that decided the round more than well, them actually being able to perform a worthwhile strategy. But now they're going to be going into the open area, or the Teller's archive site, sorry, and they do have that open area mirror that is just going to be looking into, or dining mirror that's going to be looking into the square side. So that's pretty interesting. It's one that you don't really see very often. Very interested to see if it does net them a kill at all. There's a Monty once again on the attacking side, so a lot of shield play. There is going to be that Oryx in denial that is going to be there in return. Quite odd to see the Amaru repelling, but still.
Yeah, that is I guess there was supposed to be a pre-place somewhere for her to just go in immediately, but instead Frek's just going to be droning himself on top floor. Why bring the Amaro at that point? You're not bringing that for utility.
Yeah, just bring IQ. She has the same guns.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're bringing it for the gun, you might as well bring Amaro over IQ because at least, you know, Amaro has flashbangs, but why, like, why repel?
Yeah, but just in the sense of generally being useful, like utility purposes, just bring along that IQ because it's a little more worthwhile. The Amara's actually made her way in. She jumps onto the table to keep herself safe, and we are now going to be seeing Skitty just hovering around on the main stairs. The Monty's been spotted out by Reaxes, and he does look like he wants to try and take the engagement, see if he can spot himself out. A man that is going to be postured up in a bit of an awkward position. The roof gets opened above the mirror. That's one going down, and we're not going to be seeing that returning fire like we saw Doki perform in the Phase 1 of the Major the other day.
Well, it had to be Phase 1 because G2 didn't make it to Phase 2.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh, JJ. Once again, he's good for these fights. Put the man on a vector and he's going to tear basically every team apart. Really good opening pick, and with a minute left, not having man advantage here, trying to go into this execute as there's a trade coming through. Frek and Actor actually trade in a direct 1-for-1. Second one we've seen today on stream. That is still the advantage over to Order, and they might be able to convert this as JJF. He's good for a second. Is he good for a third? As Phenomenon tries to go for a wallbang through that barricade. Isn't quite able to connect it. Phenomenon now being hunted, and there we go, he gets taken down by Reaxes. And Order put themselves back in the lead. One tiny slip up from 86 allows them to just convert a round that they totally shouldn't have won. And off of that, they convert a second. JJF5 now hot on the guns. And this is not at all looking the way I thought it was.
Yeah. It's not the first time Archives Tellus has been played.
In what context?
Like
of this game? Yes.
This map.
In this map, yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Because it seems very sort of like, well, the way they've played that seemed very much sort of like a mixture of the Bliss and G2 styles of play, I think. It was very like
camera in position.
Sort of postured around the general utility and taking gunfights, which is very G2, but also like it was all sort of based around that general sort of positioning that we saw from Bliss over the course of the Major. Which, yes, every team at this point in the Major is still hiding strats, but it's interesting to see. Because it's not really a team I'd really thought I'd be bringing up in a match like this of people taking inspiration. But in general, it seems very much that way, and there was a bit of movement, a bit of motion in the ocean, especially towards that elevator side for Reaxes as he was playing that Benja position.
Alright, here comes that Monty again, Curly. Bringing that out. He did bring it on basement previously. That was a round that did convert comfortably into 86's favor this time around. Just, I think, a fairly standard lobby push coming out. You can see the Urbana probably going to go for those Kanto walls. Going to try and open up elevator. Frek trying to go for a drone. There is a player hiding around here. I don't know if Actor's been spotted. He has been spotted now, definitely. That drone gets shot out. It is the Valkyrie. Very strong operator, as you pointed out in the pregame as well. Like, we haven't seen her as much as I thought we would. I thought she was going to be brought basically every round, but this is, I think, a rather rare occasion to be seeing her right now. And no better site to bring it than for top floor. A lot of open spaces, a lot of places to hide cams, to get good info on places like lobby, on places like the bomb site. And now Robbie going for a rotate. This might be a window repel execute, but for that you want to try and find an opening pick, or at the very least clear out that space over on Trump and Janitor's side. But opening pick actually goes against them. Frek gets taken down. The Demo's trying to hunt, becomes the hunted. JJF takes him down. So execute now, man. Disadvantage. Robbie able to get himself in, trying to cover that sound. He's inside of the site, but he's over swinging, and Skitty takes him down. There's another player behind him as Curly just de-extends, pulls out the pistol, is able to find one pick. Phenomene, he's not being expected. He finds a double for himself. Man advantage back into the favor of Team 86. And they have site control now. JJF is below. He can still potentially deny that plant. But what is Actor going to do? He does have a C4 to play with. He's running for main stairs, but somebody's watching that. He has to be careful that he doesn't get taken down by Tucano. He actually crosses. Tucano not denying that. Curly is going to try and go for that plant. Now the denial comes through. Plant is through as well. JJF has rotated upstairs instead of trying to deny from below. Probably because it was planted on a safe spot. Beautiful shot from JJF5, but he needs to find 2 more of those. He needs a 4K in this round. He was able to convert 1 round on basement. He was able to do the impossible. Can he do it here again? No, Curly! D-Extends is able to find the trade for his teammate. A tight round once again. JJF5 trying to reel back the impossible. I can't believe that he almost converts this.
JJ's actually him.
Yeah, at 86, hold on. They still convert this round. And we're back on even footing, 5-5.
Who invited Himothy to the server? Like, this guy's borderline Shiko levels of intimidating right now in this matchup, and he is really proving his worth as well. We're going to be seeing that Valk on side once again. JJ once again with the P90 in hand, and it's going to be a relatively similar strategy. They seem to...
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
You know, rinse and repeat, and actually bounce back in recent history, at least, when they do these do-overs. But you can only do do-overs for so long. You're eventually going to go to overtime, and realistically, if you go for these do-overs over and over again, eventually you are going to lose.
Yeah, and I do have to point out that, you know, that castle barricade that was placed on the double window on site was actually used against Order 66.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really beautiful usage of enemy utility to use this cover to just repel into connector. And they repelled 2 people in there. The first guy got cut down. He wasn't really sure where to try and look for a fight. He just had too many angles to try and cover, and he made the wrong decision. But Phenomene, following in after that, was able to find 2 players, both stacked up inside of long desk. And that is the opening that allowed 86 to just waltz in and get that plant down, get that control. Also, Curly, we didn't catch that kill, the first one he did, but he got a pistol kill somewhere. I'm not sure how he did that.
Curly was on the Monty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed the Solace while he was killing the... he killed JJ while JJ was killing...
Bomb located!
No, he found a kill earlier. Curly got 2
really?
kills in that round. Yes.
Oh. Never mind. I thought you were just schizo for a second.
No, you found a pick while Phenomene was walking into the site.
Well, fair enough. He was postured around in lobby, so probably gonna try and take an engagement against that elevator man that was most likely Valkyrie.
I would assume... No, the Valkyrie was alive. Must have been somebody else. Maybe. Regardless, we're moving into the next round. We have a similar setup from 66 coming through. The question is, does Team 86 read into this? Are they able to, you know, just clean this up even more and get a more convincing round? Is Order 66 able to fix a mistake? Because when you go back to a site and you play it very similarly to last time, I feel like there is an obvious mistake, at least in the eyes of the team that is going there again. There's an obvious mistake that they feel like they can fix right here, right now, and just not do again. And maybe it's that repel in.
I think Trotsky's gone completely misdroned. I saw the drone sink past him a moment ago as he hid behind a table. And I think he's completely misdroned on the below and potentially could get a single or even a double onto the stock window jump in if Freck and whatever teammate was with him isn't too careful. These Valcams really well placed, really nice to just see all that information that's very so important.
Oh, he saw it. He saw it.
Finds the kill. Atrosky finds one for himself, and now going to be keeping himself safe, getting himself into a position to actually be able to get a refrag with his team. He's playing below alongside the Solace. The Solace going to be the one to clean out the operators, and the Val going to be the one to, well, remote detonate an explosive underneath them.
Alright, Freck in the meantime able to push himself in as once again 86 is just inside of the site. I think this must have been a repel again, as in the meantime Freck was able to walk in from top square, and so now JJF trying to go for the same flank he did last time. It almost worked out for him. And once again it is Actor and him, but no, Freck cuts him down. Actor's able to find one, but he can't find the second, as Freck is heating up into this game. Match point opportunity for 86. If they can find this one, both my predictions on the score today will be perfect. I will be 100% accurate. So please, 86, win this.
I want to see all 15 rounds, whether I predicted it or not. This needs to go all the way. Very much enjoy to see two titans such as these two teams go well head to head, and realistically it could be a very good proving ground for the side of Order 66. Order 66 could really start to get some momentum coming into the remainder of the Voltage League. At the moment we are just looking at this basement hold once again, and they are bringing along pretty much the same lineup, so we'll see if their 50-50 win rate on this site in general is going to be fruitful for them or not.
10 seconds to insertion.
Well, on the attacking side, relatively similar lineup to
5
the
seconds
last
left
time.
before
We're
insertion.
not going to be seeing the Ace this time, and instead going to be seeing the Deimos alongside the Monty. So a little bit of an interesting switch, as they are going to be keeping along the Habana, potentially going to be trying to go for a bit of a different plant position or a bit of a different plant play this time. Or maybe even not going for the plant at all and using the Monty as bait inside of the main area of the site in order to get that flank that they did before with the glass.
Alright, beautiful work early from the Twitch, able to find that mirror window and the default cam. That is a drone hole that you really have to watch out for. It is highly favored by the shock drones, because you can easily clear out that mirror window, as we saw, and also that default cam. And you don't even have to drop down. You don't have to risk your drone that much, as long as nobody's watching that. It's a free opportunity, and I think we might be seeing a hot drop. This is going to be a fast hatch drop. Robbie immediately down into Vault, running for gold. Freck is able to find one. Nixon gets one onto Curly. Elsewhere, but
oh my god, it's
basically side control.
There's nobody on site.
This is complete side control. 86 is inside of the site, and Order is off of it. Actor is the only one that's close, and he's on the wrong side of a mirror window as he gets cut down by Tucano. Skitty finds one, but Robbie's able to get that trade. Phenomenon is getting the plant down. Skitty is not going to be able to get back into sight. Nixon has to go for a rotate up above. This is a 2v3, and Order 66 have absolutely no control of the site. They are completely locked out. And once again, by their own utility, this castle barricade is blocking him from taking that fight onto the red player. Here comes the drop. Skitty trying to get back to sight. The smoke trying to drop into Vault gets cut down. Skitty able to find one. Is he able to find the second? No, Robbie takes him down, and it's a 7-5. Exactly as I predicted. Exactly as the prophecy foretold. And 86, they get their well-needed points to once again be tied for first in this league. Order 66 go home empty-handed.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible from the side of Team 86. Perfect, sort of, what do you call it? Perfect counterplay into the strategy just in general, knowing that there's limited maneuverability on the site itself and being able to get themselves in and towards the actual bomb site. But this round right here is like a beautiful one for me. It really cemented Skitty as one of those players that really can do the work, and Freck just proving to everyone that he's not gone. He's still here.
Some of these shots are just ridiculous. I mean, this was the fight between JJF and Freck. Absolutely. Because Freck started heating up, you know, he had one really good attack round, and he started heating up on the defense as well, and JJF5, he was so good on the Solus in the mirror, but it wasn't quite enough. And it's sad to see, but there's some stuff that Order 66 can work on, and they're definitely a very good team that we're going to be expecting to stay in this fight, because this group is far from over. We're in the halfway mark, and with that said, welcome back, Avrona.
Oh, that was such a great match to finish off the day. Like it was an emotional roller coaster from the very beginning. It was a lot closer than a lot of us expected. Players like JJFI really carrying the team there, and they got so close to at least potentially getting into overtime, but not quite enough. It was a really great, entertaining game, and like you pointed out, that means that the unstoppable streak Team 86 are on continues, and they're back on first place, well, tied for first with Rocks Horizon in the overall standing. If we can actually bring up the standing, by the way, so you can see what has changed today, they are in that first position just on that round difference. That's 3 rounds. That doesn't give them too much of an advantage in that regard if it comes down to a draw between these two teams. In the meantime, Order 66, without that win, stay in the same position, and they're unable to take on ITBA just yet. Like we said, the next matches will be on the 29th of May, and Team 86 will have a very difficult time as they'll be taking on none other than the ITB Academy roster I just mentioned. So they will have a much more difficult journey when it comes to staying on top of the leaderboard than Rocks Horizon during the next match day. But anything's really possible. I mean, what do you think about the way the standings look right now?
I mean, we have two very comfortable top runners, and that is currently 86 and it is Rocks. They're both just going to be defending their territory at the moment and just having a little head-to-head on, who can get a small lead over the other. It's going to come down to seeing these two teams clash in the server. I think that is going to decide who is going to, end up taking first place. Other than that, ITBA is still fighting to continue keeping themselves inside of top 4. They want to be third. But today we saw some new contenders enter. Order 66, despite this regulation loss, not taking any points today, they're still only 2 points behind ITBA. They can certainly catch up. They're a very good team. They had to make Team 86 sweat for it today. I mean, this was a great series to watch for all for all teams involved. No matter if you're rooting for either 66 or 86, doesn't matter which number you prefer. It was a good game. And I think other than that, we have some very clear teams currently at the bottom of the table. I don't like seeing that. I want to see teams like NXT and Wildcats start stepping up their games. Yeah, well, these two teams need to start putting up some numbers. They need to get an OT win here, maybe an OT loss there. They just need to take some points away from other teams, start leeching some stuff away so that we have a more interesting competition across the board. Because at the moment, we have just two very dominant teams and a very solid midfield that is very entertaining to watch. But the bottom, I'm expecting more.
Yeah, I think in general, just to touch on you talking about the bottom teams of the table, as much as people have a love-hate relationship with this man, I think Joe Rogan was very right when, at the end of the day, you just say what you see, and if you don't see it, don't say it. It's just how it is. There's always going to be people at the top. There's always going to be people at the bottom. It doesn't matter if you're the top 8 teams in the world. You're still the bottom of the top 8. So it's one of those situations where just have faith in yourself and each other, be able to improve, work harder, work together, and make sure that you're able to actually be able to find the holes in your plan. Generally, something I did want to touch on, this is something I do a lot in a few of my casts, specifically on the side of Team 86 for that match. They seem to rely a lot too heavily on their guns, and I think that could be very easily exploited by a good enough team that is going to be playing a lot around that utility. And the team that does play stall very well, look at a team like Virtus Pro, they managed to counter a lot of the gun-heavy teams in the recent TDM meta just by playing around the fact that a lot of these teams are going to be trying to, actually get aggressive, actually play into the face of the Virtus Pro roster. But they managed to deny it because they played a lot of stall, they played a lot of traps, they made sure to play their positions, their crossfires, their refrags pretty much perfectly. So I think that is something generally Team 86 could work on, just from an outside perspective, looking at that game as a whole. And then on the opposite side, for the side of Order 66, it's mainly adaptability. There was no real change in a lot of their strategies. They just kind of said, GG, go next. and tried to just rinse and repeat the same format over and over again. Every single round where they redid a site back to back, they just did the same thing. Just maybe changed the positioning of one person so that person didn't get caught at the start of the round, and then etc. etc. But generally, Team 86 were the better team in this matchup, and that's just how it is. They came out on top, and Order 66 generally just need to work on that adaptability, be able to change, be able to do more than just one thing.
Now, if you are looking forward to good Order 66 matches, they will be taking on Stax Copper Clan next. That's also going to be a very interesting match, seeing how SAC are currently third in the standings. So it's going to be another really exciting match day on the 29th of May. So all of you watching, you better be there. Anyway, that's about everything from us for this stream. Everyone I'll be seeing in, Manchester. And are you guys going to Manchester?
Probably.
Wish.
Probably. I think so. I'm currently figuring that out today, so...
I couldn't afford it until like a week ago.
Well, if you see us there, come say hi or something. We don't bite, we promise. And we'll see you all back for more Voltage League action after that. For now, that's everything. I've been your host, Avrona, and our two wonderful casters were...
Naj.
At the same time.
Yeah, that's the best way to be.
Absolutely. And on that note, goodbye.
I.O. Artlist I.O. Music licensing reimagined.